Yeah, you're sharing the right screen.
All right. Yeah, morning, guys.
Carlos, we can. Great question. The question was, will this recording be shared with the students? That's what made me laugh.
I'm glad you guys have pictures up. This is the first
Right.
customers.
Yeah. And I'll say too, why, since you brought that up, please feel free to turn video on if you want, or leave it off if you don't. We're going to be very, very interactive. So don't run away if you don't have to. We will promise not to be boring, or we'll do our best.
Yeah, we'll start shortly. But while we wait, where you guys out of, or where are you guys from?
Chicago.
Oh, there you go. Nice, nice. What about you, Russell and Brett?
I'm out in California.
Oh, super nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I used to
Wow.
live out in Los
Early for
Angeles
you.
for a while.
It is early for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Paul, what were you saying?
I used to live in Los Angeles for a while.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Just
I
north
have
of
a lot of family in California. I'm in Virginia now, but yeah.
Right
That's
outside
gotta be
of
quite the
Charlotte.
change.
Yeah, yeah. But I am liking the Four Seasons here in Virginia.
That's so very true.
Yeah, yeah.
They taught me that there were four seasons in the world, and I just have never seen
it. Exactly. What about you, Brett? Where are you based out of? Hey, Carlos. Yeah, we have it, I think, once a month, if I'm not mistaken, Harvey.
Yes.
Yeah, we run this class once a month, and
Oh,
we also do other products as well.
yes.
This one is the core. We'll go over it, but this one's the core, the basis of Nutanix. And then we also do Era, which is database as a service. We have files. We have a whole gamut of products that we do boot camps for.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, but this is the
Absolutely.
first one in the series. The good one to start with is this class. Hey, morning, Alex. It's all you joining in. We'll start here in like a minute or two. But I guess while we wait, where are you based out of, Alex? We gotta send some coffee over to the customers and get everyone more hyped up. Note for the next boot camp. Let's go ahead and get started, Harvey. It's 10:10.
All right, let's do it. This is Core Technology Bootcamp. I call it Nutanix 101. But we'll go through a lot of the foundational things with you guys today. You will get access to a lab. It will be guided with instructions, but you do also have the ability to press all the buttons. So, we'll talk more through that. Love for you to get through the guide first before you start pressing buttons. But we'll get to all of that. I am Harvey Green, and I have on here with me Paul Nguyen. And is Alex on with us today? No,
Not yet.
Alex is
Might
not
be on the
on
road.
today. Well, I'll go through, sorry, a lot. This is typical. I am with XenTegra, actually XenTegra Gov as well. So I'll get to that in a minute. Paul, I guess we can go forward to, well, is the intro slide the next slide? I always forget now. Agendas, yes, agenda. See, that's why we do that. So yeah, we'll go through introductions, and then we'll go through a little bit about who is XenTegra, for those of you who don't know, and then we will jump into the content. So go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. So this actually is a good one to pop up too for next. We got a lot of things that we do at XenTegra, one of which is we've got a crazy founder who's crazy enough to give a Bronco away to somebody. So we're giving away a Bronco. We're actually got our 2022 sweepstakes has ended. We've got a 2023 one coming. The 2022 sweepstakes winner will be announced in next month, actually, June 30th. So yeah, a month and 10 days, somebody's going to take home a Bronco, compliments of XenTegra. But jump out to broncos.xentegra.com and get more information about what they did for that one and what we're doing for 2023.
Yeah, let's say I think I missed the introduction slide, so I'll just do a quick introduction. Morning, guys. My name is Paul Nguyen, Senior SE over at Nutanix. My sales counterpart is Alex Kluger. Right now, I think he's on the road, but we cover the eastern half of, I guess, the US. But we also cover XenTegra wherever customers land for them. So we'll be your point of contact over at Nutanix. Been with Nutanix for a little over 4 years. Time flies by. But yeah, currently right now I'm based out of Northern Virginia. So glad you guys could make it. And yeah, feel free to open mic, let's chat, let's have some fun.
Yeah.
We have a smaller group today, so let's do like a round of introductions to the whole crowd, if you don't mind, Harvey.
No,
I'll start out with Alex. You guys don't mind like giving your name, who you guys work for, your role, any exposure to Nutanix, and I guess for fun, what do you guys like to do for fun and hobbies? And we'll just get to know each other. Engineering, we're a pretty tight knit group community here, so I want everyone to get to know each other. But I'll go down the list. Alex, if you don't mind starting. Do we allow unmute for this one, Harvey?
Yeah, everybody should have the ability to unmute at this point.
Cool. If it doesn't work, just put it in chat. We can read out loud as well.
Yeah.
But to save time, I'll skip over and go to Brett.
Quiet group.
All right, Brett didn't answer me last time. Carlos, I know you can talk.
Sure. Hey Harvey, hey Paul, how you guys doing? I work for Haiku. Paul, I assume you probably have heard of them.
Absolutely, yeah. You guys work really close hand in hand with us for sure.
And so does Russ actually. And funny enough, next week we're going to be at the Nutanix Summit in Vegas.
Yep.
Not sure if Paul you'll be there.
I'm actually attending virtually just because I don't know
okay.
pandemic and the rules and.
Oh yeah. No worries.
I
have a pretty long background in VMware and a little bit of AHV. I ran the Nutanix CE in my lab at home for a bit, so hoping to fill in the gaps that I've been missing for the past year or so.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll skip right to Russell since you guys are as a pair at Haiku.
There you go.
Yeah.
My name's Russ Covey. I also work for Haiku. I have probably less Nutanix experience than Carlos. I have quite a bit of VMware experience. I've been in data protection for better part of 20 years, actually more than 20 years now. So I'm trying to not only fill in the gaps, but just kind of get a basic understanding. And that's a good question. So Carlos mentioned the CE. So I was just about to stand up the community edition. But my question to you becomes, because if in VMware you can get their free license, but you can't back anything up, right? Because the vStorage and the APIs aren't there. Do you guys have a fully functioning? Like, is the community edition fully functioning? Do you know that? Like, if we were to attach a Haiku to it and try and back it up.
Since you guys are a strategic partner of ours, let's chat offline.
You got it.
There's other venues for us.
What do I do for fun? So out here, I chase my 6-year-old and my 4-year-old around. That's about it.
There you go.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the benefit of being in California. There's so many beaches to.
Yeah.
You go to the beach one day and you go snowboarding the next day in Big Bear. So.
I was out in Austin, Texas, with some of our counterparts. Carlos is my counterparts, and they were They were just completely shocked that I could go to the mountains and go, skiing an hour away and be at the ocean 2 hours. It completely blew their mind.
That's definitely one thing I miss about California for sure. Not the taxes though.
No, not that.
Who did I miss? Richard?
Yeah, Richard Leonard, work for the University of Georgia. Saw your post from our CIO and figured I'd take a look at it. We're heavy VMware and not going to be in the future.
Nice.
Happy you're here. This is a journey, and we'll show you a lot today that will help you with that. But we're more than happy to help out with that. I mean, you're not first, you won't be last. That's the nicest way I can put it.
So too true.
Cool. Harvey, I guess if you wanted your introduction to XenTegra's introduction.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even fully introduce me. I'm realizing. So I'll do that really quick. I'll try my best. I'm Harvey Green, and yes, I'm the third. I am. I've started calling myself the wearer of many hats at this point. I've been at XenTegra for 6 years now. Everything prior to coming to XenTegra on the partner side was as a customer. So I've got, I don't know, a little over 15 years as on the customer side, kind of doing what you guys going through what you go through, having to talk to people above me and sell these things up as necessary. I wish that I had the availability of Nutanix when I was an admin. But alas, I did not. So I did things the hard way. I also run XenTegra Gov, which is our SLED focused arm of XenTegra. And so I am kind of the techie side and also the business side. So lots going on, but you know, it kind of is what it is. I just put a smile on and go straight into it. This is fun and enjoyable to me. So I just try to make things happen the best I can for my customers, and hopefully everybody learns from all my mistakes so they don't make them. I said I was going to be short and I wasn't, so sorry. But so about XenTegra. So XenTegra is a value-added reseller. We started out as a Citrix boutique and have grown, I don't know, many times over at this point, to the point that we work with 80 different vendors. We've got a consulting staff that is very experienced, guys that can sometimes in some ways make me look bad, but I won't tell them that. We've got experience around Citrix, VMware, Microsoft, Nutanix, ServiceNow, and IGEL. Those are our focus partners, but again, we've also got experience around a little over 70 more. So very much focused on end user compute, data center, and cloud technologies. And we're focused on being very strategic and very solutions oriented. So a lot of the conversations that we have start with, like your CIO there, Richard, starting with, I want to do this thing. We're much better aligned with being able to take abstract type goals and get you to where you need to be and worry about all the in between. We can still very much handle, hey, I want you to sell me 10 of these servers and 4 of these drives, or however that goes. We can do that too, but we'll probably still ask questions about what's happening with this, where is this going, what are you trying to accomplish, so that we can lend our expertise on the way through, and make sure that you're making great decisions, informed decisions. We do a lot in the informational, educational realm. We'll get to that in a minute, but we also do managed services, hosted services, so lots there as well. We've got a help desk that we can lend out to our administrators and things like that, 24-hour 365 support desk. We also do lots of complimentary assessments where you can talk to one of our engineers like me, go through your environment across a bunch of different tests and questions and things like that, and talk through where you are meeting best practices, where we have suggestions for what you're doing, how you're trying to accomplish it. And we back that up with our recommendations in a report, which will go out to you, and you can do what you want from that point. You can just take it, throw it away. You can take it, look at it, and start working on fixes based on those suggestions for yourself. You can say, hey, can you guys help me with these 3 out of the 10 things you recommended? Or you could just say, hey, you do this. We help anywhere in between there. So Picture really quick before you jump. I knew you were going to jump. Picture really quick of the founder, Andy Whiteside, on that last slide. He's the founder of XenTegra, CEO of XenTegra. And he says that the XenTegra model is, sorry, I got my pictures in the way, but the XenTegra business model is simple: build a community and then create solutions that serve that community. We very much live by that. Something else that you guys will see more and more as you look to us, do more with us. We're led very much by an engineering mindset. So some of the things we do don't always make sense to people who are very, very much dollar focused, like some of the things that we'll do today and go through this whole workshop and lab and not charge you guys anything for it at all. We'll do lots of things like that that you'll see more of. But coming from an engineering mindset, for me, that's great because I can just be honest with you, tell you the things that matter the most to you and not have to worry about who's making money off of what. Like we do what we need to do from an engineering perspective because we want you to succeed, and we'll do what we need to do in order to make that happen. Go ahead, Paul. I'm talking a lot. We gathered up the amount of years experience we had as a team. This was, I don't know, sometime last year at this point. At that point, we had 716 years of end user compute experience as a team. Our team has definitely grown since then, so I'm kind of curious to see what this number is now, but we were not expecting anywhere near that, so that was fun. It makes me feel old. Another quote from Andy Whiteside: XenTegra was born out of a need for customer enablement and true partnership. That's another one of the tenets we very, very much live by, is true partnership. We are not at all the people who will come and sell you something and say, see you in 3 years when it's time to renew it. We are very much involved with our customers. We want to make sure that, we're going through the fires with you, not just leaving you to go through that yourself, and, helping design, not just, the where you're going, but the in between of how you get there, and make it so that you're not causing outages and things on the way for your customers and users, which doesn't make for a successful journey. We've won awards for that approach. This actually picture is from winning Citrix Worldwide Partner of the Year. That was 2019. But we've won, awards from Citrix, from IJO. We're still working on our Nutanix Partner of the Year. We'll see when that happens. But I actually have been certified this year as a Nutanix Technology Champion, one of only less than 100 in the world. So that was a big honor too. But we again very much are very focused on our customers. The vendor awards are great, but we want to be our customers' Partner of the Year too. So that's what our focus is on. Events.XenTegra.com is where we house all of the events that we do. When I was speaking before about all the craziness we have going on that people who are very much dollar focused would not love us for, you'll see a lot of that on there. We've got lots of virtual things. We've got lots of in-person things all over the United States. So very much you guys can go and check out what we're doing, and feel free to attend anything that is close to you, or that even if you want to travel to, it. But we do a lot, so we want to make sure that we're getting word out to our customers and having real conversations with you, over beers. Like, why not? Baseball, hockey, whatever. We also, Paul, you can go ahead. We also have webinars.XenTegra.com. This is where we house all of our webinars. At last count, I think we were at 9. I think actually we're starting an AWS one, so that will, I think, make us 10. Anyways, long story short, we have lots of ways that we're getting out, free knowledge to our customers, sharing our experience, sharing our perspective on things. Webinars.XenTegra.com is where you can go for those. We do actually have a Nutanix one that I'm co-host of with Andy and with Jira Cox, who's another Nutanix SE that works for Nutanix. And that one's weekly. We're up to, episode 53 or so at this point. So definitely go and check that one out. Oh, look, I jumped the gun. Podcast.XenTegra.com is where you can find that. But again, we've got 10 different ones at this point. So lots of knowledge for you guys to take in. And we're on all your, regular podcast platforms as well, Apple, Google. We put these on YouTube. We're a little bit of everywhere. So feel free to take in any of that, and you can, drop me a message. You guys are great, or drop me a message. You guys suck. I'll take all kinds of feedback, and we'll use it to improve or do more for you. So we've got a very diverse customer base at XenTegra here. You'll see a bunch of different industries here represented: healthcare, TB, lots of universities, lots of hospitals. I guess the message here, putting financial too, the message here is that we work with all kinds of customers. We've gone through all kinds of different projects, different implementations, different iterations of things. This is just a short list of the companies and institutions we've done these things for. We've got a wealth of knowledge. We'd love for you to take advantage of it, and hopefully we'll be able to add you to this list, or at least get you through getting to your goal. Either way, this is kind of the summary slide, but we're a reseller. We do services. We help you scope and reach through solutions. The bigger thing around it too is at the bottom, multiple solutions, single vendor, single point of contact. We don't make a lot of the things that you'll be using, subscribing to, that you have implemented in your data center, but our focus is to make all of those puzzle pieces you have fit together better for you and for your users, so you don't run out of the building pulling your hair out screaming. So vacation is actually vacation, right? So put all of that, that stress on us. Let us help you get through the fire you're going through to get out to the end. I believe that is, I was gonna say, I believe that's the last slide, but I got one more. Partners.XenTegra.com is where you can go to check out the list of all the partners we have. If you see any logos on that page of technologies that you use, very, very much reach out to us. We can help with those. If you see technologies on there, or excuse me, if you don't see technologies on there you use, we want to hear about those too. Like, as I said, we started really with Citrix only, and have built from there based on customer feedback. Like, you guys did a good job with this. What else can you do? Can you do this? Well, yeah, we can do that. And so, we've built more and more and more to the point where we are now, but we're still building. So definitely encourage feedback on anything you see there or want to work with us on that we don't have out there. XenTegra Connect is our place where we do the managed services, the hosting services, also the 24/7 help desk. That is all based in the US, all people who live in the US. Even got a guy all the way out in Hawaii so that we can, follow the clock much better. He's very happy, I'm sure. But we have support across all of our partners, the main cloud ones you see here. But again, just making sure that we are painting the picture here. that we can help you guys all the way through, meet you wherever you are, kind of help you through to your end goal, and then after that. Because accomplishing, goals is great. We celebrate, that's the end of that project. But there's something else right around the corner. The users and the businesses make sure that they do a good job of that, don't they? I believe, oh, look, it's XenTegra staffing. So staff, we do have a staffing organization as well. Jobs.XenTegra.com is where you can go to take a look at the jobs that we have out there. If you are looking to fill any holes within your staff, we can help with that as well. More than happy to have a conversation with you around your needs and to make sure that if we have candidates, we're putting them in front of you. And if we don't have a candidate exactly for what you need at that point, we'll go out and find one for you, screen them and get that information done and show you what we have at the end of it, and then let you make the decision on, which way you want to go. I talked through free assessments already, but we have these across a bunch of different technologies. Basically spend half a day with one of our engineers and help you with that, help you with taking a look at what you have and, working with you to make it better. So cost to action there, we can plan, we can work on demos for you, make sure we're getting you demo licensing, demo software if that's what you need, make sure that we are scoping things out for you, helping you design for the future, architect your solutions, and then help put them in place for you as well. So we kind of make sure that we're as much end to end as we can be, and meet you where you are and take you where you want to go. And that is a very, I guess, full picture of XenTegra.
It's the last slide.
Yes, that's as full as it'll be right now. Any questions about any of that? I know I sometimes, go around and around, but I want to make sure that we've got any questions answered before we jump into today's content.
Yeah, and on a Nutanix perspective, XenTegra is one of our top partners in their ecosystem. XenTegra is very big on Citrix. Citrix did announce that Nutanix is their #1 platform of choice. So the partnership works out for us in XenTegra. Just a heads up on that as well.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
All right. Paul, I know you're getting ready to jump in, but just wanted to let everybody know you can jump in, just come off mute, ask questions if you want. If you want to stick them in the chat, I'll pay attention to the chat or the Q&A as well. If you guys want to jump in with questions, we'll make sure we get those answered.
Yeah, please chat. It makes it more fun and exciting because I do this almost every day, so it can get kind of boring. Harvey and I, we're easy going guys, right?
Yes.
Russell, I'm a fellow Californian, so you know how laid back and cool we are. Yeah, please ask questions. Yeah, to start out, explain Nutanix and where we're going. All right, so this class is 101 core, modernizing your data center. We have gone beyond HCI, but we have to start out with this class with HCI. When you guys do enter into Nutanix website and hear our messaging, we're moving towards a hybrid cloud company. But to understand that, I'll take you guys back to the beginning of who we are to understand the journey and where we're going and when we're headed towards as a company as a whole with Nutanix. So modernizing your data center, what most customers are familiar with, right, is the 3-tier architecture. We want to modernize that for the customer and move to the next stage of evolution, and that's going through hyperconverged infrastructure. So with the additional 3-tier, what I'm hearing and seeing from customers are what I call the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, 3-tier customers, you're spending a lot of time away from what makes the company revenue, or if you're federal government, what hits your mission goals, right? A lot of times are being spent on running the data center itself. You're gonna get specialized skills, you gotta have careful integration with different vendors that are in your data center per se, right? You might have Dell servers, a NetApp storage, Cisco UCS, running VMware Hypervisor, right? I just named a bunch of vendors that you gotta have to integrate together. Either get an SI, some integrators, or you're gonna make sure everything upgrades together perfectly, right? It takes a lot of time, a lot of issues, slows down the progress. Another issue as well, certain larger customers might be segmented in their customer base, right? Because they might have a server team, application team, a storage team separately. Let's say you need to build out more stores for VM, but your storage admin's out on vacation. You're gonna have to wait, right, until he comes back to even carve out a new LUN or carve out a new data store for you to attach that new database or new application you need to build out. So those are causing, right, slow down a lot of issues that we're seeing with the traditional 3-tier. We want to modernize that process for you and streamline it. What Nutanix does is it collapses 3-tier into a single 2U box appliance. I do like to call this a cloud in the box, because essentially you are getting a cloud in the box and 2U appliance. Whether you run it on Nutanix appliance model, we do partner heavily with HPE, Lenovo, IBM, Cisco, and Dell. They all have their own appliance model as well. So think of Nutanix as a software. We don't care what platform of choice you guys go with. We can work with either. If it's not the vendor you see there, as long as it fits our HCL list, our compatibility list, you guys are good to go. If you need to grow and expand, we'll just add more nodes into the environment and expand very easily. We do have our own hypervisor built in to the product, plug and play, ready to go, called AHV, which you guys will learn today in today's class. If you guys are still using ESXi, you can. Richard, I think I remember hearing you say you want to move out of VMware. Great choice. AHV is already plugged in, ready to go. I listened, I remember. Hyper-V as well, we can also pair with Hyper-V. You see that K8 Kubernetes. Right out of the box as well, we do have Kubernetes orchestration built into the product as well. If you need bigger, more use cases out of Kubernetes, we do partner very heavily now with Red Hat. So also Red Hat also is another strategic partner alliance of ours that you can leverage OpenShift with Nutanix. Cool. I'll take a quick pause there. Any questions, concern, comments so far? Cool. I pulled this picture here out and it was randomly out on the internet. I like to tell people that that's Harvey lost in lost in the data center. Crazy enough, I have seen this at a couple customer sites. A little crazy, right? Wires everywhere, label makers, things being labeled left and right. It can get convoluted as bigger you grow as a company. But with Nutanix, it's a little bit more streamlined and cleaner to set up, as you can see there on the right-hand side. Most of you guys are going to be familiar with this. I myself was admin in the past. So I used to have a lot of windows, right? A lot of tabs open for all the different products I have to manage all my different, right? UCS, NetApp, Dell, what have you. With Nutanix, it's all managed in a single GUI that we call Prism Central and Prism Element, which you'll see in the lab. Is a single management GUI interface. The HTML5, you can log in from home, in your Tesla, anywhere you have internet connectivity, you can manage out your Nutanix cluster. So I snuck this slide in here, again, to kind of explain, it's a little bit above the scope of this class, but I do want to go over, right, the goal messaging of Nutanix, how we're moving away from HCI out of the competitors who are just getting to HCI. We're going above that now. So we're going into the hybrid cloud model with HCI. We can now put Nutanix software on the public cloud. We have our own cloud, what we call Xi Cloud Services. Azure's soon to be GA and coming soon. We can put our software on AWS bare metal, and then that's where you can manage in a single deployment through Prism Element and manage all your infrastructure from there. Again, we have another class separately for cloud management through Calm, but essentially what that allows you to do, say you have a workload that you know is elastic, you might want to move that off of on-prem to AWS, or vice versa. You have a database out in AWS that you want to hold near and dear to your heart. You can migrate it back on-prem, right, as well in Nutanix database. Oh, sorry, Nutanix on-prem. So this is it's a single management cloud interface through our Nutanix GUI, hence our hybrid cloud model.
Yeah, the big message there, as you look at the different public clouds they have access to, the previous slide he showed you the hardware that they can put Nutanix on. I'm very, very much for complete flexibility everywhere. And so I don't like to pigeonhole myself into anywhere. And using Nutanix allows you to both be flexible on-prem, with whatever hardware it is you want to use that they're paired with, and then be able to migrate those workloads back and forth from the cloud platform of your choice as well. So still using the same software, still using the same skills. That to me is a big deal. So
yep, correct.
And Harvey, just a question for you.
Sure.
Is that running essentially AHV in the hyperscalers, or is it the respective native instance running in there?
It's running AOS.
AOS, sorry, AOS. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Thanks.
Yep. AHV is just the hypervisor.
Correct. Right. So yeah, AOS is the software that helps you, be able to move and migrate back and forth. AHV is the hypervisor, but as we'll get into, I guess, in a couple of slides, you do have choices in hypervisor land too.
Cool. Yeah, it's basically, Carlos, it's the AOS software that we're going to install into a bare metal instance, and then it's going to be seen as a Nutanix cluster. So it will be similar like putting Nutanix on Dell hardware or HP hardware. And when you go into your console, it'll just say AWS in that bare metal instance. So it will look like cluster 2 that you can replicate and send data back and forth.
So you'll be able to leverage protection domains and all that.
Correct.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Correct. Yes.
Great.
In this slide here, just going over a couple of use cases why you want to go hybrid cloud. One is lift and shift, right? Move applications that we mentioned back and forth. On-demand elasticity, you might have some workload that is going to burst during peak seasons. You can move it. Cloud native services. So like I mentioned to you guys, it's going to be sitting on AWS bare metal, which is connected to their VPC, right? So any function of AWS that you're familiar with, say RDS, Lambda, all the AWS services will be available with Nutanix clusters. Business continuity, you can send your backup, right? You can tier it out to their S3, the Glacier, the IA, what have you there. And pair it with Haiku. Like how I did there, Russell, Carlos?
Yep.
Love it.
Cool. Again, this slide is just to hammer home. We are a software company. We don't vendor lock you to anything when you use Nutanix. Hypervisor choice, again, AHV is built in. You can use VMware or Hyper-V. But we are seeing closely, maybe around 70% adoption rate, switching out of VMware over to AHV. Again, hardware of choice, Nutanix, Supermicro, Dell EMC, Lenovo, Cisco, HP, or IBM. Cloud of choice are Nutanix Xi, AWS, and soon to be GA Microsoft Azure. Oh, and then you see there, Xi powered by Nutanix. We do have a DR as a service with Nutanix as well. That you can go ahead and leverage. If you don't want to build up a DR site, you can leverage DR as a service where we can replicate kind of like a fault tolerance VM out into the cloud. So if anything fails on-prem, redirect all your users over to the cloud, and it will be like you wouldn't realize there was an outage. Fix on-prem and then replicate it back to on-premises. So it's there if you need. It's a click button to turn on. You can do fire drills as well. So a lot of times when you're doing backups, right? Backups are good at securing your data. But in the event of a failure, do you know if it will restore or not? We can do fire drills and test out that recovery for you ahead of time.
Yes, so, yes. Very, very important to test both backups and your disaster recovery. If you don't know it works, then you're not in a great position for it to work when you need it to work.
Correct. Yep. And we can do those fire drills. I see a lot of customers do it twice a year.
Yeah.
For their managers. Cool. So Nutanix web scale. Again, I like to give kind of history of Nutanix, right? Our founder, Dheeraj, came from Google. As you know, Google holds petabytes and petabytes and petabytes of data. They created what is called the web scale architecture. They need to grow fast, right? Because of that large storage. They're learning very quick a point standard solution. It's really hard to grow and expand. So they create their own Google file system. What that does is use white label servers. And if they need to grow and expand, they'll just add more servers to the environment as the software defined. Something fails, they'll take it out and then swap back in a brand new one. Same concept with Nutanix. Again, that's where Dheeraj and all our founders came from. So they took that approach and packaged it into a 2U appliance. So it's a little easier, consumable to the mid-market and enterprise customers as yourselves. So if you remember earlier, I said it's a cloud in the box. It is essentially what we're selling to you guys is the cloud in the box experience, if that makes sense. Question, concern, comments on that?
What did you say the file system was?
The Google file system.
Okay.
So it's based on that, but we call it DSF, as you see there, Distributed Storage Fabric. But it's similar concept to the Google file system.
Okay. So we use vSAN and OWL, and how would you say it compares to vSAN?
So vSAN is just a collection of just any hardware you have laying around, and it creates a software-defined storage out of it. With Nutanix, right, you're purchasing an appliance. So it's all well distributed. It's all gonna be all the same SSDs and spinning disk. The way we do handle failures is different as well. You'll see that in the next couple slides. But most importantly, right, we'll build from the ground up for HCI and for this purpose, as vSAN was kind of created to lump a bunch of storage together.
Yeah. So here's a question. Is it global deduplication?
It is, correct.
Okay. Interesting. Good.
Cool. Any other questions, concern, comments? And to answer your question, Richard, our pool, you should only create one storage pool. So once you add more nodes to it, it'll just expand out that DSF. And we're going to go ahead and dedupe and compress everything in that storage pool. So in any server in that cluster, we'll go ahead and dedupe against each other.
It says tiering. Do y'all consider memory a tier? As far as
Can you
caching?
elaborate on that? This is tiering for storage.
Okay.
Yep. But we do have storage heavy nodes that if you just need to expand out memory and CPU, we can add that into the cluster and expand out those resources for you. So, right, we can expand out memory, CPU separately, or if you need more storage, we do have storage heavy nodes just to expand out your storage capacity of that storage pool that you're looking at.
Yeah, and that storage can be spinning drives, SSD drives, and it can be, you know, including all the way up to NVMe and Optane. So you got options there for sure, depending on what kind of performance you need out of it.
The big thing here that I also want to point out is the CVM that you see in the middle. So that's kind of the secret sauce of what makes HCI HCI. It stands for Controller Virtual Machine. If you're used to a point SAN solution, even if it's all flash, it's still going to have a bottleneck if you have 100 servers, or we're not all trying to log in or trying to read right into that storage, right? Because usually they come in two physical controllers. With us, we virtualize those controllers on each and every node, hence giving you more swim lanes into the storage per se. This is very good. This is where we got our fame and claim with VDI. If you guys use VDI before, you might get that boot storm effect, right? If 100 users try to log in to the SAN all at once, it will congest, right? You might type something out, and then 5 minutes later, it'll start typing. We eliminate that boot storm effect because of all of those open swim lanes through the CVM, the Controller Virtual Machine. That's also where we house our Prism element. So if one CVM does go down, you can log into another CVM and still manage the whole entire environment, as opposed to if a vCenter goes down, that goes down, right? Your management. So the CVM does a lot. It is a secret sauce on Nutanix. I think Harvey, I think you're about to say something.
Yeah, I mean, this is, as Paul said, this is one of those big, hopefully watershed moments for some people. You know, normally you're used to, hey, I got storage processor A, storage processor B. Best case for those is that they work together and not, you know, active passive, but most of the time they're active passive. So really it's only going through, you know, one node until it fails, and then it's going through one node. And so when we look at the difference between that and what Nutanix builds out, normally you will see at least 3 nodes in a Nutanix cluster, and that gives you right out of the gate more resources, more failover than you had out of 2 storage controllers. But in a lot of cases, you know, you might take that 3 nodes up to, you know, 5, 10. You can see your power grows linearly with how many nodes that you're building out in that same cluster. And so that is a huge difference, you know, when you look back at, oh, I just got 2 storage processors and, you know, hope one doesn't fail because then I'm down to 1. If one of these nodes fails, then you might be going from 3 to 2 or 10 to 9 or whatever it is, you know, to 1 less. And Nutanix is also built for that. So you'll see as we get into more of this that you've got some internal resiliency as well, based on the way we build things out. So lots there, lots more to see, but this is an important point, a building block that we'll build on continually in this. So it's pretty important you at least see and understand that part.
Cool. I just want to show you guys just one particular model or appliance. This is the NX model. This one runs, right, 1 block, which holds 4 chassis. This is what I mean by node. So each node, right, holds all your memory and CPU, and also all of your storage. So it does run 2:4 ratio. From SSD to HDD, so it does run a hybrid mode. Intelligent tiering metric means that it will store right on SSD first, but it will detect with machine learning that we can tier out to HDD later on to save out your SSD storage capacity. So that's where the intelligent tiering comes in. But we do have all flash models as well if you just need all SSDs, including NVMe. But yeah, we have different models where one might have just one blade if you need just a one blade chassis, but this one holds 4. But we have different models, different capacities that we mix and match for you. Our SCs will size appropriately with your environment and give you the best model that we see fit to your environment. Okay, so this is going over our DSF, how we would only need to create one storage pool as a software-defined storage. Once you create that storage pool, we'll go ahead and create containers. Containers are basically like your VMware data store, where you're going to house all your VMDKs and your QCOWs of your VM. You can have as many containers as you like. Each container, you can drill down to one container can enable dedupe, another container can disable dedupe if you like. Dedupe and compression goes down to container level, and you can also enable eraser coding if need be. Data locality, Richard, is where we're going to differentiate ourselves from vSAN, and it will make a lot more sense. Normally in person, I usually like to do a whiteboard. So hopefully my slides will kind of do it justice. So let's go through those slides. With data locality, let me go back to this. So with data locality, it's how we do our read and writes. Data, right, say in a normal storage-defined environment. Let's say you have 3 servers, storage pool, right? Guest VM that lives in node 1. The data could live in node 3, right? Because it's software-defined. To read and write that, it's going to have to hop through the network to node 3 to read and write it, which could cause latency and slower, right? With Nutanix and data locality, we're always going to write the data where the VM resides. So if VM resides in node 1, it's always going to write its storage to, its data to the storage on node 1, hence data locality. You're never going to traverse to the network to read and write. So you can see here, guess node 1 will read into node 1. Question, concern, comments?
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, that is different from vSAN because you never know where it's going to, you never know where the write's going to occur.
Yeah, exactly. And another differentiator is how we deal with failure, right? So we don't really do RAID or RAIN. That's the other difference. I think VMware, if I'm not mistaken, I think VMware does RAIN. We've done an independent array of nodes, perhaps. We do ours a little different. We're going to replicate blocks of data across our cluster. So that's what's called RF2, replication factor of 2, which means we'll have 2 copies of the data in that Nutanix cluster in the event of a node failure. We also have RF3 if you need an extra copy for larger customers. To have RF2 and RF3 enabled, with RF2, since we're creating an extra copy, to have, right, n+1. So keep in mind, replication factor is different from n+1. Replication factor 2, n+1 helps have enable replication factor 2 for one node failure. So to have n+1, we would need 3 nodes in your cluster. And then with RF3, we would need 4 nodes. And it'll make sense when I go through the slides.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to point out as well, again, talking through the flexibility of Nutanix and the kind of the background of coming through cloud, coming from the cloud type architecture, is when we talk about, you know, redundancy factors and we talk about failover and resiliency and things like that, that doesn't just go for, you know, if you've got 3 nodes, if you've got 6 racks of nodes. Nutanix also has rack awareness, so you can build in some resiliency so that not just if you lose a node, but if you lose an entire rack to say a power outage or something like that, you still got resiliency around that as well. So lots of flexibility out of the solution. And I mean, like I said, this is what I would have wanted when I was having to deal with all the harder stuff that you guys are dealing with still today.
Yeah, hopefully these slides do it justice. I as an engineer, you guys know we love whiteboards. So hopefully these slides do a little justice here for me. So we went over data locality. Guest VM1 lives in node 1, read to storage in node 1, right? Once it gets acknowledged, it'll send over to the CVM that it's written to node 1. The metadata will be written and it'll spread out and know where it's written. Once it's committed, replication factor will kick in, and we'll go ahead and stripe those blocks across the cluster. So you can see there, not all blocks are going to be in node 2. There's one that's on node 3. We'll go ahead and stripe out those blocks. Reading, we'll always read locally. In the event of a vMotion or DRS, say guest VM moves over to node 3, we want to read the light blue. It's already there with data locality, so we'll just read it. If we need to read yellow, those blocks will move over with the guest VM for data locality. So you're always reading and writing wherever the VM resides, whether you're doing vMotion. If a node fails as well, the VM will DRS over, and then all the blocks will redistribute, and we'll make sure with data locality, all the blocks fall over with the guest VM.
Yeah, and the thing to point out there is that the worst case with Nutanix when it comes to this is that you're reading across another node until that data gets pulled over. And normally that's your best case, is that everything is everywhere. You're reading across and pulling that data over from the network. But with Nutanix and data locality, that concept of reading everything locally and giving you the best performance in that way, the worst case for Nutanix is your best case anywhere else.
Yeah, and Harvey also mentioned something very good with block awareness and rack awareness as well. So here, this is replicating between the nodes, right? We can go a step further. If you have 2 blocks, we can replicate between the blocks. You have 2 racks. We can also, just for example, if someone trips a wire on a rack, the whole rack goes down, right? We can replicate the blocks on a secondary rack for rack awareness. We can do that as well. CVM autopathing. So again, in the event of a CVM failure, like I mentioned before, the CVM holds all the metadata. So it'll know where the blocks are replicated. If that first CVM goes down, the second CVM will just take its place. And then since it knows where all the blocks are located, it'll go ahead and read and write the blocks over to the VM and take over for CVM1. And then we can just rebuild our time with controller VMs.
Right.
It didn't show it, but same concept. If you lose a whole node, right, guest VM will go ahead and move over, and then DRS will kick off, just like the other slide, right? So that's how we built in for redundancy. And again, with 3 nodes, that allows for n+1. We will size appropriately for you, Richard. We can do n+2 as well. I've seen a lot of those, but with 3 nodes, it will at least give you, right, n+1 scenario for the guest VM to move over. I'll just skip the slide because I like this one a lot. Self-healing. So, for example, here, when I talk about n+1, n+2, this is going to be an n+2 build out, so you can see what it looks like. It will be RF2 on an N+2 model with 5 nodes. So you can see here, right? VM is sitting in node 1, all blocks are there, and then RF2 it's written across or striped across. But what if node 1 breaks? DRS will kick in, HA, sorry, will kick in, and then DRS will move, right, VM to node 2. It will then self-heal, build on all the blocks, and redistribute. Again, this is N+2, so we can have another node failure. Same thing, HA will kick off, and then we'll self-heal and redistribute those blocks. Same exact concept if you were to add more nodes. This is why it's simple to do a cluster expansion with Nutanix. Similar concept, we'll do like right a self-heal, we'll redistribute for you in the back end, all those blocks and all those expanded nodes. Question, concern, comments? And it's very simple to expand. Just add a new block to your top of rack switch. We'll all discover it through IPv6. It'll show up as node B, C, D, E, F. Just check mark it and then run foundation. It'll expand the cluster for you. Question, concern, comments? Similar to VMware, we do have infinity roles and anti-infinity roles. If you need 2 VMs to be together, you can. If you need to be separated, for example, you can't have them both fail at once, you can separate out and do anti-infinity rules as well. Just like any other storage vendor, we do have built-in backups. Our RPOs do run every hour. Depending on your RPO and RTO needs, right? We do have what we call near sync replication, which will do less than 1 minute to 5 minutes. What it is we're creating right synthetic fulls and only capturing the deltas. That way we can back up more often for you guys. But again, right, it's just like VMware any storage product. We do still recommend you use third-party vendors like Haiku for more backup capabilities, right? You can have your SLPs, archiving, what have you. Russell can go more into details on the benefits of having, right, a third-party vendor enterprise backup solution versus a built-in storage snapshots. The quickest thing I can say for it is our snapshots are really good for planned outages, right? Let's say, for example, you have an upgrade coming up. Go ahead and take a backup. If you don't like what you see, you can always revert back. Enterprise backups like Haiku or for unplanned outages, right? Because it allows, there's more backups you can go through. It's archived, you can search, etc. Again, Russell can go more in detail on that. But right, we also have ours built in. Local snapshots, we can back up locally, and then we can replicate also to a DR site. We can also replicate out, we have built-in AWS connectors, so we can also send backups directly to AWS S3. We also have Metro availability, where you're going to sync up the replication. This is where it's going to be replicating one-to-one. You'll do this in the lab. You'll see you'll build out a protection domain. So a protection domain will be a group of VMs that you want to protect together. With Metro availability turned on, it will always sync one-to-one with site 2. So if site 1 goes down, all your data will be the same in site 2 to run. So Metro availability will allow you to have no data loss in case of site failure. It's easy to set up. And again, it's replicating one-to-one. You'll build that through protection domains. Question, concern, comments? We can go very deep in detail of backup and DR. it's very important to discuss, right? It's like having car insurance, right? No one wants to pay for it, but you're glad you have it. So there's a lot of different scenarios we can go through with Nutanix. We're not like a single solution company for this. And any unique use cases you have, we can go ahead and address. Again, right, we have that built-in snapshots I mentioned. We can leverage third-party vendors like Haiku. And then we have that DR as a service for the fire drill and fault tolerance replication scenario. So you have like less than a minute RTOs. So it depends a lot on your RPOs and RTOs that we can discuss. We have a plethora of solutions we can discuss with you on that. Question, concern, comments? Russell or Richard? And Alex? Sorry, I didn't see you there. You might see this a lot in our advertisement of one click. We try to make our infrastructure set it and forget it and very simple to do any process. One click cluster upgrade is you can upgrade all your environments through a single click. You'll see in the lab, it might be 1 or 2 to log in. But one click cluster upgrade, we're non-disruptive rolling upgrade. Again, the benefit of having a CDM on every single node is we'll put one on maintenance mode, upgrade that node, move everything out. And then once that's upgraded, we'll move it back and upgrade node 2, hence rolling. This allows you to be able to do upgrades during work hours. So you don't have to wait after hours or during the weekends to do the upgrades. They're non-disruptive rolling. Again, anywhere you have internet connectivity, you do the upgrade. You can do it from home, on your Tesla. We'll run through checks for you as well to give you the warm and fuzzy when you do upgrade. Everything works together. You'll see that there in the NCC. That is our Nutanix check. It started out with a couple hundred checks. Now it's over 1,000. We'll check through all your databases, your hypervisor, everything in your environment, and we'll give you a heads up warning ahead of time if something doesn't work with the upgrade. That should also give you the warm and fuzzy. And again, take the snapshot if you were worried about upgrading, and that's where you can roll it back to the old snap. Go ahead, Harvey.
No, I was just agreeing with you. This is for me, this is the only system that I'm comfortable enough and have done it enough to go and just upgrade this in the middle of the day and not even worry about it. I mean, I know that some people will still have policies in place that will, stop you from doing that, but the comfort level is at least there for you to do it. Not something you have to sit and babysit, hope and pray and all of that the whole way through. And that's something where you have to go migrate your machines and manage bringing your host back into production. All of that stuff is automatic.
Yep, and you can see that in that slide. I'll tell you what the newest version is. So you can go ahead, select, and upgrade to the latest version of AOS. Cool. We can also do hypervisor replication to different sites. So if you are running VMware, we can replicate to an AHV, vice versa. Oh, can you guys hear me or see me? I think I lost internet connectivity for a few seconds.
I
still hear you.
Okay, good. Sorry about that, guys. So one-click hypervisor conversion, we can convert VMware XXI over to AHV very easily in either two ways, right? We can do it in place, or we can do it in flight as well. Simple cluster expansion. Just connect your new node to top of rack switch. Through IPv6, we'll detect that new node. And then with self-healing, we'll go ahead and auto-tier and rebalance in the background for you there. So very, very simple to cluster expand. image services, you'll build the one out as an optional item in the lab. What image services is, most of you guys might create a separate data store, right, to house all your ISOs. This is essentially it. We'll build out that container for you to house all your format, your ISOs, your VHDs, your VMBKs, your QCOWs, that you can build out your VMs from there. Prism Central. So Prism Element manages a single cluster. Prism Central manages multiple clusters. There's also a lot more you can do in Prism Central. It runs as a VM and it manages all your clusters. I do like to show a demo of Prism Central that's just showing you this. So let's go ahead and take a quick 10-minute break. I'll spin up a demo environment and demo you guys Prism Central. So let's get back at 11:30 and I'll go over a demo for everyone.
Thanks, Paul.
Yep. Hey, Brett, we're just taking a 10-minute break, so we'll hop on back on at 11:30.
Hey, Paul, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, you're echoing. I'm having crazy audio issues this morning. Okay, I heard you about 11:30, so I will log back in, but I am totally listening to myself right now.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks, guy.
Cool. Let's go ahead and get started. Back up again, guys. Hey, am I seeing the right screen, Harvey?
You are.
Cool. Cool. All right, guys. So what you guys are looking at here is demo Prism Central. It's a little bit above the scope of this class because you guys are going to log into the lab will be Prism Element. Again, you can see your Prism Central is managing different clusters. But if you log into one of them, you can see details of all different, I guess, clusters in your environment. So you can manage this anywhere, as long as you have internet connectivity, and you manage all your different clusters. And so one cluster manages one hypervisor. With Prism Central, this allows you to have multiple clusters with multiple hypervisors managing in your environment. So you can have one cluster running AHV, one cluster running VMware, one cluster running Hyper-V, or what have you. Or one cluster running on AWS. You can manage it all through here. Everything you can do in Prism Element, you can do in Prism Central as well. So you can also just build out VMs right out of Prism Central. I'll demo one just in case. So what I want to show you guys today on Prism Central, that's not in Prism Element, right, is what we call XPlay. We do have automated IT management built in to Nutanix. Let's say, for example, you have a VM that ran out of memory. Normally, that VM will just power off. We can set a playbook called XPlay where it'll shoot you an alert that the VM runs out of memory, and it'll automatically add memory into that VM for you so it doesn't turn off. So there's a lot more you can do that than just adding memory. For example, you have like web pages. We can add more load balancers to it. The possibilities are endless, and I'll demo and go through that for you guys. So the best way to demo is create a VM. What I will demo though, there's two ways, right? There's an automated one, and automated triggered alert, and there's a manual XPlay as well. So for the manual process, for example, you might have 100 VMs that you want to add more memory to. Manually, you have to log into each and every VM to add more memory. With XPlay, you can do all 100 all at once, which I want to demo to you guys right now. So let's go ahead and create a VM. It's a very simple process. Again, you'll do this in the lab. I'm going to call it XenTegra demo VM. Keep in mind this number here because I'm going to go ahead and show you what XPlay does. So I'm going to have it at 3, but keep in mind it's number 3 because I'm going to add one more memory to this VM, so it'll turn from 3 to 4. So just keep in mind this number. Go ahead and click next. Attach this. This is where you go ahead and add that QCOW or VMDK to that storage container. Same thing as a data store. This is the demo one that I created. You'll create a container as well during the lab. So you'll see all this whole process being built through. I'm just going through this quick for demo, but I'll go ahead and create that VM. Cool. In a couple of VMs, you saw that getting spun up. And again, in this environment, we're running AHV right now. So you can kind of see how AHVs run. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page. So you can see there's Integra VM created. Again, keep in mind, that's 3 gigabit of memory. We're going to go ahead and add more to it. So going back home, I like to call this the burger bar. It looks like a burger. I'm sure any foodies up there will get a quick laugh out of that. But if you go into the burger bar, go into operations. There's a couple operations built into Prism Central. One being the playbook. So there's a couple exploit playbook already like pre-built into the system. But let's go ahead and create our own. Again, you can do the triggered alert, but for a demo, it's easier if I just do a manual, the manual version. You can manipulate down to the VM level, do it from the host or even through the cluster. But I'll go ahead and again show you how to do exploit through VM adding memory. Okay, so this is why it's called a run book. You create your steps. Again, more and more, these are pre-built, more and more will be added. You can also create custom scripts for this as well. But first action you always want to do, right, is send an email alert. I won't do this because it's a demo and it'll shoot me 100 emails every day. That'll be step one. Step two, maybe acknowledge the alert. And I always like to power off my VM just to make sure. Oh, there it is. So step one, I'm going to power off my VM. Step two, again, I want to add memory. So here it is, VM add memory. And I'm going to add one every time I run the XPlay. I can set my parameters so it doesn't hog off resources and just keep adding, right? I'll cap it up at 5 for this demo. So go ahead and set your parameters. And lastly, I like to power back on the VM. Cool. Go ahead and save and close. I'll call it XenTegra memory add. And make sure you have enabled selected. Cool. Give it a couple of seconds there to get created. And there it is. And you can see there's 2 triggered, alert, and manual. And let's go back to our VM list. So again, just imagine you have 100 of these VMs. If you want to add more memory, you got to log into each of them separately. But with XPlay, I'll go ahead and select all the VMs I like. Go to Actions, Run Playbook. There it is. And it'll run through all these steps for us. So we'll give it a minute or so to kick off. Again, keep in mind this 3 will turn into 4. But any questions, concern, comments while it's being run? I do see this being very beneficial for every customer here. This is probably one of the operations you guys probably use the most of within Nutanix. It's definitely one of my favorite actions in our product line. Yeah. Any questions, concern, comments? There it is. 3 becomes a 4, and it powered on for me. Cool. And again, that's just one example. The possibilities are endless if you do scripting. But a lot of great use cases for this. And again, the automated process is built into Prism Central. Another thing I do want to show that's in Prism Central is our built-in resource planning. You see here capacity runway. Again, this is a demo environment, so I don't have any real live data that's growing. But if it was, it can tell me how much runway I have left between my CPU and my memory and storage runway. Let's go ahead and click into this. Again, if it's a real environment, you can see it's going to show up a graph, and it can predict in the future how much is going to be in use. And that's what is today. Again, there's a real environment. This will go further, and it'll show what's predicted to grow. And again, it'll get better over time with machine learning. You can also do optimized resources. So it can recommend, if it sees any VMs that are over provisioned, it'll notify you. Any inactive VMs that you can power off to save resources. Any constraint or noisy bully VMs that are hogging resources. You can take a look in here and optimize your environment from here as well. If you guys have a project coming up that you guys know you might add into Nutanix infrastructure, you can test ahead of time as well to see if it actually fits into Nutanix cluster, or if you need to expand out the cluster. So you can do test scenarios. So for example, let's say the next 6 months, since a lot of people are working from home and you're hiring more employees, you're adding 500 users into the environment in the next 6 months. You can see you can target out as far as a year. But let's say in the next 6 months, you know, you're gonna have a brand new project. Will it fit into the current environment? Go ahead and test it out on an existing cluster. And add that new project workload. I'll wait for it to load. I think my internet's running a little slow. But while it's loading, it doesn't have to be VDI. You can add, if you have more databases, you can add more databases to it. More it's just server virtualization, Splunk data, etc. Oh, there we go. So again, right, it doesn't have to be VDI. You use SQL servers, regular VMs, Splunk, what have you. I'm just going to do VDI because it's the easiest to demonstrate. I'll do 500. Again, it's going to freak out because it's a lot. So let's go ahead and say we're going to add 500 more VDI users to the environment in the next 6 months. So let's go ahead and save. And you can see here in the target 6 months, we don't have enough. And again, this is for you as a customer to see, not a Nutanix or XenTegra employee. This is for you to see, and then you can reach out to us and discuss possible growth scenarios, either grow horizontally, add more nodes, or grow vertically, add more resources to your nodes. But if you hit on recommended, it can recommend you which Nutanix hardware to purchase or upgrade. Here, I'm assuming it's going to recommend me the NX3000 series to add more storage. But we'll see here once it calculates. But question, concern, comments so far are like what you guys see, or anything else you guys want to see on Prism Central?
No, that looks good.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I think my internet's running a little slow. But again, this is for you guys to see. You can see here it's recommending me 2 nodes of the NX3000 series, and you can see the resources that it's recommending me. Cool. Those are just examples of some of the Prism Central operations you can use with Prism Central. We can definitely do a more in-depth discussions separately if you guys like, or a boot camp. But I just want to get you guys feet a little wet and see Prism Central. In the lab, you guys will actually run Prism Element. Let's see if I can't launch it Yeah, you guys see from there, I can launch a single cluster within Prism Central. So I just launched out Prism Element on one of my clusters. You can see it's running AHV. This is because of the lab, but model-wise, it will either say Dell, Lenovo, HPE, Supermicro, or AWS. If we're running bare metal, this will show you what type of hardware or software is sitting on. In the lab, you'll run through, right, creating a VM. You might create a storage first, right? You go under storage, create I like to go to table, but you should only have one storage pool, like I mentioned. And then you go ahead and create your storage container. I won't run through this, but you'll do this in the lab. Create your storage container. And then go into VM. And you'll create your VM and house it into that container you create. If you go to this gearbox here, this is where you'll do your upgrade software. So this is the one-click software upgrade we mentioned earlier in the PowerPoint. Go ahead and upgrade. You can expand your cluster from here as well. Might have missed it, but you'll play around the lab. The cluster upgrade, cluster expansion, and it's all underneath the gearbox. I won't go too detailed because I do want you guys to play around with it. Let us know any questions, concerns on the lab. Harvey, I'll pass it over to you if you can help them log into the lab environment.
Yes, you mean do that thing that I did not do yet, which is send out
it works out because we can follow you through the steps.
Yes.
So where you guys are going to log in today is our Nutanix Frame. It is our VDI product, so you can actually have another preview of another Nutanix product through Frame. So Frame is our desktop as a service product.
Right. So I'm going to stick in the chat really quick for everyone the link that you'll use to get to the environment to sign in, and that is there. And so I'm going to give everybody a number really quick, but checks PLC user. All right. Russell, you will be number 1. Alex will be number 2. Alex. Richard, you will be number 3. And what I'm putting into the chat right now is your user ID that you're going to use. Of course I did it that way, it didn't label it. 1 user 03 is Richard. Okay. All right, so you'll use that. The password will be the same for each of you. Oh, ha. See, I made that mistake earlier, Paul. I did the same thing again. Glad I didn't send it. All right, that is the password. So if I have done that the right way, let me get a window. And let me share my screen. If I have done that the right way, then each of you should be able to sign in. I'm going to make myself a file, I guess. Should at least make it to this screen. Please let me know if you have not made it to this screen. If you have, you can go ahead and just click desktop. Did everybody make it that way? That far, excuse me. hear silence. I see no chats. I guess I will assume that everybody has made it this far. All right. So the next thing that you will do is open Chrome so that we can get to your directions. You can click on Bootcamp Guides at the top left. And with just a little scrolling, you'll go to AOS on AHV. All right, once you click that, that will take you into the directions for today's lab. Please let me know when you get this far. Which I hope to hear I'm here or see a chat message, I made it. All right, I'm getting nervous because now I don't hear or see anything. Lurking.
Alex, Richard, are you guys still there?
Yeah, still trying to log in. I can't copy and paste it, so I think that's my issue.
Okay.
And Harvey, you can end recording if you like. We're just doing labs now.
Oh, yes, good idea. Sorry, it has moved since I'm sharing my